Welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make miniature dollhouse curtains and blinds in 4 different styles using a Cricut. Don't forget, you can use the chapters in this video to skip ahead to your favourite design. Before making one of these designs, you'll need to measure the window area of your specific dollhouse, both the height and the width. I've added these projects on the Itsy Bitsy Build Cricut profile so you can access them for free. And for each design, I'll explain in this video how to resize them for your individual window dimensions. Our first design is a box valance curtain. It has a fabric box at the top with draped curtains coming down either side of the window. Since this design is cut from fabric, you'll need to use a Cricut Maker Series machine, or you can cut the fabric components by hand. To access this file, click the Itsy Bitsy Build Cricut community link provided in the description of this video. Then open the project that says Miniature Box Valance Curtains. You should see 5 pieces included on your canvas. This brown piece will need to be cut from craft board or heavy cardstock. You'll notice it has score lines here. If I drag it over to my window template, you can see this piece has about half a centimetre each side of the window frame. So if you're working with a different size window, you'll need to factor in the additional size either side of your window frame. This green piece is made from fabric and will cover the craft board piece, so they need to be exactly the same dimensions. These 2 green pieces are the curtain fabric pieces that will sit either side of your window. They have the same width as the window frame, and there is 1 extra centimetre both at the top and bottom of the window. So again, factor these in when resizing to your specifications and use the window template as a guide. I'm using this cotton fabric and sticking it onto the pink fabric grip mat. I'm inserting the fabric rotary blade to cut out the design. And here are the fabric components. If your fabric pieces are creased, you will want to iron them out before assembly like I'm doing here. For this piece, I'm using craft board, and your Cricut will score first before cutting it out. And here with the score lines, it makes it a lot easier to fold. We're folding all of these fold lines inward. And then I'm gluing the fabric to the craft board piece using some glue tape. This adheres nicely. It also doesn't seep through to the other side of the fabric. For this next part, I'm using Helmer's Craft glue with a fine-tipped glue bottle. I'll put links to these products in the description below. Apply a small amount of glue to these tabs. I'm holding it in place with some tweezers until it dries. Follow the same steps for the other side. Once completed, your box should look like this. The short end of the box will go against the wall and the long end will face outwards. Now let's do the curtains. I've got 2 curtain pieces here and I'm using Helmer's fabric glue for this part. Place a thin line of glue across the short edge of your curtain and fold it up about half a centimetre to make a hemline. Flip your curtain piece over and pinch a line long ways down the curtain to make a crease in the fabric like so. Flip it to the back and apply a thin line of fabric glue along that crease. Be careful not to apply too much. Then fold the crease over that glue line. Flip it back over and make another crease about half a centimetre away from the first one. Then repeat that step of applying a thin line of glue along that crease. Then fold the crease over that glue line. Continue these steps until you reach the end of your curtain. You'll notice here that the fabric sits flat, but the creases we've made gives the effect of draped curtains. Repeat these steps for your other curtain piece. Once that's complete, we're going to apply glue to the front part of our curtain, on the end that isn't hemmed, and carefully place it inside the box valance. Make sure that the long piece of your box area is at the front. Repeat these steps for your other curtain piece. Now we're ready to glue the completed curtain onto our window. Apply some glue across the short edge and stick it down in the center. I think the pleating in the fabric makes it look more realistic. I also made a polka dot version so you can see the curtain in a patterned fabric. Next up, we have our pleated blind. This design can be made with any Cricut machine since it's cut from cardstock. You will need the fine point blade and a scoring wheel, scoring stylus or deboss tool to make the score lines. I'm using craftboard, but any medium to heavy cardstock will do. To access this file, click the Itsy Bitsy Build Cricut community link provided in the description of this video. Open the project that says Miniature Pleated Blind. You should see 3 pieces on your canvas: the window template, the box that will sit at the top of the blind, and the blind itself. The blind width is 1/2 centimeter longer than the window, so if you're resizing, keep this in mind. If you do resize, I also recommend highlighting both the box and the blind so that they retain the same aspect ratio and width. You can see the Cricut will score first before cutting out the blind pieces. And here we have our blind piece and the box piece, which will sit flush to the wall. Let's start with the box frame. Bend inwards along the score lines. Glue the short end here and stick it onto the adjoining piece like so. I'm using tweezers to hold it in place until it dries. Apply glue to the smaller end pieces and stick down the end like so. Then do the other side. You should end up with a complete box. Now let's do the blind. We're going to fold back and forth in a concertina fold like so. Once folded, it should look like this. Next, we're going to use some small beads. I'm using 2 of these round beads for the base of the blind and these gold long beads for the pull strings to make it look more realistic. The beads you choose for the bottom need to be big enough that they don't go through the holes. I'm using some black elastic band, but any string will do. Push your thread through the bead and make a knot. Cut off any excess at the bottom and be sure to glue the bead in place. Glue the 2 panels that don't have holes together. Grab the other end of your thread and start feeding it through the holes in your blind. Notice I'm threading it through in and out until I reach the top. The string should drape over the top of your blind. Pull the thread down and cut where you want it to hang. Then repeat these steps for the other side. Use your other side as a guide to where to cut off the string. Now we're going to put our long beads on the end of the string that's hanging down. Push that thread in and make a knot, cutting off any excess at the end. Then repeat these steps for the other side. Locate the top panel area which does not have a hole cut out and glue it onto the box you made earlier. The larger surface area will be glued to the blind, leaving the short side facing outwards. Glue your box to the window, making sure that these blind strings are facing outwards. I also glued my strings down at the top because I wanted them to hang down neatly. And there you have it, your very own mini pleated blind. I also made one in pink polka dot cardstock so you could see how it looks in a different pattern. Next up, we're making a rodded curtain with a sash. Since we're cutting fabric, you will need a Maker Series machine with the pink fabric grip mat and the rotary blade, or you can cut them by hand with the measurements provided on the Cricut project. To access this file, click the Itsy Bitsy Build Cricut community link provided in the description of this video and open the project that says Miniature Curtain with Sash. You should have 3 purple pieces, which are the 2 curtain pieces on either side of your window and a sash. You'll have this blue piece, which is to be made from sheer chiffon fabric, and the window template. The 2 curtain pieces are 1.5 centimeters longer than the window width and 4 centimeters longer than the window height to account for hemming. The sheer fabric is the same length as the curtain pieces, but it's 2 centimeters longer than the window acrossways. The sash will make 2 sashes for either side of your curtains. We're using 18 gauge floral wire for the rod part of our curtain and this looped ribbon. I have some small square beads to hold it all in place. I'll pop links to these products in the description. We're going to take our wire and measure it against the size of our window, and we want it to extend out about 0.5 centimeter from the window frame on either side. I'm also cutting the looped ribbon with the same length as my rod, and I'm cutting off the loops on the opposite side because I only need 1 set of loops for this purpose. Thread the looped ribbon through the wire like so. Glue the square beads onto either end of the wire. Then glue the frame onto your window. You want it to sit slightly higher than the window frame. Next, we're going to hem our chiffon fabric. Place a small line of fabric glue at the short end of our chiffon fabric and fold it about 0.5 centimeters up. Glue this end to the looped ribbon lining up with the window. I've also hemmed the other end. Here are our 2 curtain pieces, and I'm going to hem the shorter ends with some fabric glue. This part is optional, but I've put in some of this gold trim across the top of my curtain. To give our curtains a realistic look, we're going to make some pleats. I've applied a small dab of glue around 1/2 centimetre away from the long edge. The glue should only be placed on the hemline, unlike the previous curtain we made. Fold it over and hold it in place until the glue dries. Then fold 1 centimetre back on itself. Flip it over to the back and place 2 more spots of glue on the hemline where the fold ends. And fold it over again. Continue this process until you reach the end of your curtain. Grab the middle of your curtain here, and we're going to glue this sash in place and cut it to size. Holding your curtain in a folded position, we're going to place glue on the back of the piece and then stick it to the curtain rod like so. Repeat that for the other side. And there you have it, our rod curtain is finished. And here's the other version with the sash. Our last design is a Roman blind made of fabric. Again, you'll need a Maker Series machine with a pink fabric grip mat and the rotary blade, or you can cut them by hand with the measurements provided in the Cricut Design Space project. To access this file, click on the Itsy Bitsy Build Cricut community link provided in the description and open the project that says Miniature Roman Blind. These yellow pieces are cut from stiff felt to give your Roman blind some depth and structure. This grey piece with the slits in the corner is the front of your blind, and you'll use these cut areas to make a hem and glue down with fabric glue. This piece fits neatly over the top once the other piece has been hemmed. Like the other projects, you've got the window piece as a guide for resizing based on your window dimensions. Just like the other blinds, I'm using cotton fabric. You can see the corner cut lines here. Using these cut lines, we're going to hem our first piece of fabric, folding inwards with some fabric glue. Cut the excess pieces off like so. Then apply a small amount of glue over the hemline you just made and stick the other fabric piece down. Glue on some ribbon to accent the blind. Pinch a line in your fabric around 1.5 centimeters from the bottom of your blind and fold it down like so. Place a thin line of fabric glue across the fold you just made. Flip it over and place another line of glue above the fold and stick down your first felt piece. Repeat this step, so 1.5 centimeters above the previous fold, we're placing a line of glue and then folding it over. Flip it over and lift the fold this time, placing glue underneath the back fold and stick down your second felt piece. Now at the top of your blind, working at the back, we're placing a thin line of glue and folding the top over. You can also place your felt piece on top of that. To stick it to the window, we place a line of glue along the top and stick it down, making sure that it's straight. And there you have it, your Roman blind is complete. And you can see this design with a vertical ribbon. I hope this video inspires you to make your very own dollhouse blinds and curtains. Leave me a comment below if you need any additional help.